Today is January 29th, 2014, and you are at the MCBS Hour. We are recorded live in front of a virtual and a live studio audience, and we're coming to you live and direct from the Full Sail University campus in sunny Winter Park, Florida. What a liar am I. There is no kind of sunny going on outside. With us in the house today, and houses spread all over north central Florida. Oops, it's not the 22nd. Ignore that typo. Oh, ignore that too. We have the awesome and spectacular faculty from the MCBS program at Full Sail University. First, we're going to meet each of them, and then we're going to jump into our first segment, Media in the News. First and foremost, Renee. Renee, how's it going out there?
Doing great. Very happy to be here today. Enjoying this weather on January 22nd. 29th. Yes.
I could edit that, but it sure would look ugly. I think it's better to just leave our mistakes up there so we can fail forward. Isabel.
Failing forward. There we go.
Absolutely. How's it going, Isabel?
It is cold, but then what do I know? I'm from Brazil, so it's always cold where I am, unless you are in Brazil, of course.
Where the weather is
but
always
everything
warm.
else is good. Yeah, it is very nice indeed over there. It's summer, so everybody's at the beach and enjoying that weather while we're here freezing and having tires freeze on the road. But I'm fine. I'm keeping warm.
Excellent. That's all we could ask for. And glad to have you
Yes.
here, even though it's winter.
Yeah, thank you.
Next up, we have Lisa Smith coming to us from Building 5 also. How you doing, Lisa?
Hello, happy to be here, back in the building again. So,
And
welcome,
happy to have you here. And bless you to whoever was sneezing like that. That was spectacular. I was thoroughly impressed with that. And coming to us from the Space Coast, Pete. Pete, how's it going out there?
Oh, doing fine, Jason. It's so great to be with everybody. I can't wait for this to come every week. Just love the show and love being with our MCBS family. And so I am remotely, speaking from my home office, which I affectionately call the cabin. So it's great to be warm in the cabin today. So hello, everybody.
Well, I hope you got your feet kicked up and a fire going and a cup of hot chocolate with whatever flavor marshmallows you prefer in there. And glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. Next up, also in Building 5, Janelle. How are you doing, Janelle?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm all bundled up over here, so I am doing fabulous. Thanks for asking.
Stay bundled, stay bundled. Next in line, we've got Shannon Gillette. Shannon, how are you in Building 5? I love hearing how everybody is. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I have my Snuggie on and my little fan blowing, and I am actually toasty.
For those of you listening up north, we apologize for acting like it's cold, but come on, yesterday it was like 78 degrees and now it's 57? I mean, what are we supposed to do? Obviously, there's going to be some complaining. Phyllis, from the Dark Dungeon. How are you, Phyllis?
It's warm in the dungeon. I'm not complaining. We are in Florida, and it's supposed to be 80 by the weekend, so I'm a happy camper.
I can't wait to go to the beach, take some pictures, and brag to all the people up north. And the person that we thank for all this spectacular audio functioning, because it sure wasn't 5 minutes before we started, Robert. How are you, Robert?
Thanks, Jason. Doing well, man. Enjoying. I know the ladies don't like me to say this, but I'm enjoying this weather a little bit. I prefer it to be sunny, but I'll take this a few days of the year versus all the 80 and 90 and 100 degrees that we always suffer. So I am I am glad to be here. Exciting new subjects that we're going to talk about in this hour, and I'm ready to go.
Robert, you and I have a lot in common when it comes to temperatures.
Yes, we do. We've talked about this.
There's some other things besides temperatures, but there's one thing for sure that we can agree on.
Yes.
And dialed in from off campus, Emily. Emily, where the heck are you? What's going on?
Oh, well, technically I'm just across the street, in my little home office, but I'm going to change sort of the flow here just a little bit. Don't throw you guys off. I know talking about the weather is really fun, but let's just switch it to sports for a second, huh? I think Pete's going to talk a little bit more about that later, but just wanted to stir things up like I always do, Jason.
That's some good stirring up, and it brings up a great point that was going to be brought up a little bit later. For anybody that didn't hear the yelling across the Building 5 room, there's a few things that we're going to have to avoid saying so that we don't upset the league, which is responsible for the large game that's taking place this weekend, whose name we cannot say. Much like Voldemort, there are two team names and a league that is at the national level who are hosting this large game, all of which we can't say for fear of retribution. So I'm just going to toss that out there as we say hello to Kathy, who's here in Building 5 with us. Kathy, you could comment on sports, the weather, or any other thing that you like.
Wow, the pressure is on.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, I'm just going to say that I'm really excited about this very action-packed show.
Oh, there's so much
that's
action. So much action. We can't even... I see no reason to put it off for another minute. I think one of the most amazing things about being at Full Sail University is being around all this creative energy that then launches out into the real world and does amazing things. And those amazing things are sometimes quantified in award format. Most recently, the Grammys. I think we can say Grammys on the air, right? Yeah. The Grammys. And talking about the Grammys and any Full Sail involvement, our very own audio magician, Robert.
Thanks, Jason. Well, Grammys is music's biggest night. So anybody who is a music fan, any quantitative measure will actually not miss this night. For me, it was kind of interesting because I was just coming back. I was on a flight back from New York City when the Grammys was coming on. So my main thing is that I never want to miss the opening show because it sets the mood or the mood for the rest of the show. And so I watched it the first hour or so from the plane. Beyonce opening with Jay-Z was an amazing start of the show. Some might say a little too sexy for primetime TV, but it was an amazing show. Just like the two of them, nothing more. It was really, really incredible. If some of you did not catch it, pretty soon Grammys will put up their own videos of this. There's been some bootlegs that have been going up and down, so wait till Grammys does their own thing and you'll be able to catch it. Some highlights, of course, we had, let me go back over here, we had amazing winners. We had about, how many is it? About 20 categories, projects that work across 20 categories that our Full Sail grads worked on, which is every year I always look at this and see how many of our grads actually worked on all the awards that are handed out, and the Grammys one being one of the prominent ones. We had, of course, they worked on the Album of the Year, which was done by Daft Punk. Also Record of the Year. So Daft Punk cleaned up a lot with a bunch of our graduates working on those projects in various forms. The Best Rock Album as well. And we had our very own Sebastian Chris. Did all the composing, engineering, and production on La Santa Cecilia 30 Días, which you can Google that. And see, it's an amazing piece of music.
I doubt I can Google that.
I will write it down in the message box in just a second. And there were, of course, there were 53 artist releases that were nominated across 42 separate categories. So there was a lot of nominations also where our Full Sail grads worked in. As a member of NARAS, which is the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences, once you are a voting member, you see a lot. You get like this big book of, for voting across all these categories, and it's exciting for me to go see who worked on these records. Most of the time we know the names, but just to see who worked on these records and if there's any Full Sail grads there and or Full Sail people in general that have had anything to do with them. So it's exciting to go through that and see. So I knew a little bit about how many of us had something to do with all the nominations and just works that went up for nominations. Going back to our Grammy night, we had a bunch of really great performances. Two memorable ones for me were actually Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr in a surprise reunion singing Queenie Eye. Standing ovation. It was amazing. You know, they did the whole Beatles thing, just the two of them. And the other one that was really, really exciting was when Macklemore and Ryan Lewis performed their song Same Love, which Macklemore also cleaned up at the Grammys this year. Interesting thing about Macklemore is they did that completely independent. They had no record label. So whoever their media strategists were and how they came about on racking up these fans and being able to get to this award, which, by the way, the Grammys is an award based on technical merit. So there's no radio tallies, there's no playlist tallies. It's all based on technical merit, and we actually vote for each other. And they got to this level without a record label is just an amazing accomplishment for them. But coming back to my second favorite part was where they sang Same Love with Mary Lambert, and then midway through the song, Queen Latifah came out and married 34 gay and straight couples. And if you haven't caught this, make sure you do, because it was, it was really emotional for everybody involved. Even I don't really shed a tear, and I was kind of teary-eyed in that one. And then at the end of that, Madonna came out and sang "Open Your Heart" after the ceremony. So it was quite an amazing moment for the Grammys. But if you want to go, I'll put up the link in just a second to check out some more of these highlights, and like John Legend and Katy Perry, also amazing performances. And some of the combination performances were amazing as well. So you can all check that out. Anyway, that was the highlight of the Grammys.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Robert.
You're welcome.
Did we have a lot of people out there in the audience watch the Grammys? Was that any Grammy parties attended? Anything like that? Actually, I think we had some faculty attend the Full Sail party. Who was that?
This is Lisa. That was me, Lisa. I was actually volunteered to work the front door, do the Full Sail's Grammy party. That was quite an event. I was impressed with the turnout that we had. I think we had a little over 500 students attending. So quite a amazing event. And they broadcast it up on the big screen in the venue with live Twitter feeds with the hashtag Full Sail Grammys being streamed on the two side screens. So you get to see all the student feedback. So really neat.
And from what I hear, that hashtag was trending for a while on Twitter. There was so much conversation about that, right? Had you heard that?
I had not heard that, but that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, how's that? I mean, it's a big darn deal to be trending on Twitter, especially on Grammys night when everybody is involved.
What's neat is my job was to hand out ballots because we were doing our own vote for Album of the Year. And from the comments I heard in line as I handed out the ballots, our students pretty much nailed it.
As if we have our fingers on the pulse of the industry or something.
Almost as if.
Wow. All right. Well, the Grammys are gone. It'll be another year before it happens, so all you musicians out there can relax and let yourselves go. You got nothing to worry about for another 12 months. And with that exciting news, we now get to jump into the La Brea Tar Pits topic, net neutrality. And I don't want to give away what net neutrality is all about, but as I understand it, it's all about not really caring one way or the other about the internet. So everybody that's all meh about the internet, that's exactly what net neutrality is. Did I nail that,
Not
Lisa?
net indifference.
Oh.
Not quite net indifference, it's net neutrality. This is a big topic, and it's something that is highly relevant to MCBS due to our focus on new media and web-based media. What net neutrality is all about is the neutrality part addresses the internet service provider's relationship with the content that we have access to. Basically, as it stands right now, we have the free internet, not free as in cost-wise, but you can go online and access whatever content is out there, as long as it's legal. It's a lawful content. If they've cracked down on illegal file sharing and copyright violations, of course, because that's a violation of the law. But as long as that's not a factor, I can go out and look up whatever I need to, and all of it is treated equally. The fear with on this issue of net neutrality is that these ISPs have the power to, in essence, play favorites. Say if they come up with a pricing plan where they charge certain service providers like Netflix or Google or businesses whose provide a service over the web, they could charge extra for better service and even slow down those who are do not have that level of service, or even competitors of some sort. This has been in the news lately because there was recently a court ruling that was highly relevant to this, in which the existing rules of net neutrality were kind of cast down. The background on this is that the FCC set up 3 general rules that govern how ISPs are to handle the services they provide. Basically, they had to be transparent in how they manage congestion, essentially bandwidth, so that there isn't that kind of favoritism given, that it's open to any lawful content. And in fact, the other stipulation was that they weren't able to prohibit or are prohibited from blocking any lawful content. And there was the prohibition against unreasonable discrimination against traffic on their networks, say if they had some kind of political difference with a particular website or some other ideological differences, that they could not go out and block that from their customers. The reason this was brought to court by Verizon, and these guidelines were basically struck down. The reason being that the FCC based these on the rules that govern other telecommunications, like telephone and so on. But those rules don't apply to the internet, because earlier on they had classified the internet as not a communication system, but as an information system. And that part is a little bit vague, but essentially those rules didn't apply to the internet. And so all of these guidelines they had set up were nullified. So now there's this controversy, because on one hand you have the ISPs that are in business, of course, to make profit, and they have these options open to them, different pricing structures, charging for better service and so on. And then you have those services that exist on the internet Netflix in particular has been spotlighted in this issue. Who don't want this, who see it as bad to the customer because we're paying for the internet in order to access whatever it is we want to access, but if they're prevented from providing those services, then due to the pricing, or if the quality is hurt because of this, then it's ultimately going to come down to the end user. A comparison, in fact, the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, has now got into the issue and are speaking out in favor of net neutrality and have a petition going. And their comparison was, this quote is, imagine if a phone company could mess with your calls every time you tried to order pizza from Domino's because they cut a financial deal with Pizza Hut. So that's what they're equating it to. And there's some truth in that comparison. So where it stands right now is that at the moment there's nothing really enforcing them to be neutral. And the ACLU has cited some examples where this has been abused. There was one that was kind of surprising with AT&T actually censoring out part of Pearl Jam's performance in 2007 because they were critical of George Bush and his administration during the time. Using those examples to cite that this could be abused and has been in the past. So very controversial. However, the reality is that the FCC actually does have jurisdiction over the internet, but they simply base their earlier guidelines on the wrong legal premise. So you probably will see some kind of regulation in the future, but right now it's a kind of scary territory.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm a little scared by that. That means if my ISP gets huge and they are covering 90% of the country, they can then dictate what 90% of the country could have access to, either based on making it so expensive you can't get to the content or blocking it altogether. That's, censorship of any type terrifies me. Is that what we're looking at?
Potentially censorship. What probably the biggest criticism of this from a public standpoint is that it potentially limits innovation. You have Netflix, which is already a big name, and their business is established. This could hurt them if it slowed down the service, and to where it's to the point where you have disgruntled customers and all that. But if you have a small startup, say somebody that's come up with some innovative new idea, like the early days of Netflix, say, nowadays, but you have this kind of biased pricing arrangement, how could they possibly afford to even get a foothold if their content is being, slowed down and buffered to the point where it's nobody wants to bother looking that way.
Right.
Yeah, Lisa, and this is Emily. Just please correct me if I'm misstating any of this stuff and what my understanding of it is. But just to kind of, like, if these internet service providers move to a sort of like pay-to-play model where they're charging these large content providers like a fee so that they can ensure that their content gets delivered to us, the consumers, then that really forces out these smaller content providers or maybe these upstarts that can't afford these costs.
Right.
Likewise, it would be something like, the little guy not being able to get into the game because they can't, afford to play or, don't have the equipment, so to speak. Would kind of be like being forced to shop at Walmart if they wanted to block out all of these smaller mom and pop, maybe like roadside farm stands.
Well, that's true. Yeah, and you said it much better than because that's essentially what I was trying to communicate. You said that much better. And that's one of the big concerns is that it'll simply prevent any kind of innovation. Because I mean, I don't know if any of the other faculty or students have ever been to a final presentation from our web development department, but some of these graduates have these amazing ideas for new internet-based applications that could be the next big thing. But if you have these young folks going out into the world and trying to start up and have this in place, it's a major roadblock.
Lisa, could you talk a little bit about Netflix's reaction to the recent ruling with
Yeah,
Verizon?
there was a headline out recently about Netflix because they essentially said that if it did come down to that what they call draconian pricing arrangements, that they would make efforts to rally their customer base in protest. Kind of what's the word?
Just, yeah, rally them to demand open internet,
It's like, yeah,
basically.
get them up in arms in
Yeah.
protest and calling
Mm-hmm.
for better regulation,
Mm-hmm.
which probably wouldn't be a bad idea to do anyway. But at present, they're clear that they're okay. They don't have an issue with anything that's currently being practiced, but
Mm-hmm.
just really strongly warning against the possibility of this really damaging the free and open internet that we have
Mm-hmm.
experienced so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I read that Senator Al Franken said that it's the freedom of speech issue of our time. So there's a lot more to come. Like you said, it's not that Netflix is ready to, go to sort of battle right now, but the future is uncertain.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have a lot to lose in this,
Right.
and if you look at where the battle lines are drawn, on one hand is the ISP, the service providers, AT&T, Time Warner, Comcast Comcast is involved. Somebody mentioned that they had signed a 7-year agreement where they would abide by these FCC rules, even though they don't no longer apply. They're still abiding by those rules, so they're kind of out of it. But so ISPs on one side, but on the pro neutrality side, you have Google, Yahoo, Netflix, and some of these industries and Amazon that their existence depends on this kind of free and open internet.
Yeah.
So some big names on either side. It's going to be quite a struggle.
Mm-hmm. So what are you? I'm wondering, Jason and anyone what are our students thinking about how this might affect their careers? Might affect what they're going to be doing. Anybody have any thoughts?
Well, Kathy, this is Pete. I'm thinking from the standpoint of we're constantly talking about the game-changing strategy, and that includes apps. That includes, from a research point of view too, you're pulling together all of these different parts of a company to strategize. And as Lisa put it, if there's draconian laws with heavy penalties and it's just very restrictive, you slow down, if you will, innovation, because that's that whole process of you're researching, finding what the next great service is, or even if it's something that's an initiative that's somewhat philanthropic, if there are apps related to that or other innovations, and you have this type of law restricting that, it could it's sort of a ripple effect, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I think it's one of those things that truly needs to be thought through, and that's the problem is you have all of this momentum going on, and it really needs to slow down at this point and just get it right. So yeah, it will affect the students in some way if it goes the wrong way. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys will be part of the You know, if between now and the time you graduate, um, there's some roadblocks put in place, maybe you'll be a part of the strategy that unblocks. So
Hmm.
we'll see what's to come.
And hopefully it'll come down to being mainly a growing pain because with the way the FCC ruling was worded, it sounds like this is sort of an artifact left over from the earlier days in the internet when they weren't quite sure where it fit into the grand scheme of things, and now realizing that maybe their earlier decisions weren't quite right, but it was definitely it was interesting because the court was actually sympathetic to the net neutrality issue, but just said they didn't have the legal grounds to enforce the rules that were already in place.
Yeah, I like what you said about the growing pains. It could very well be that we're just on the cusp of that. Go ahead, Jason.
I was just going to say it's something we'll have to keep an eye on. I like the thought of it being growing pains as well. The internet's getting huge. Our whole program is based on the fact that journalism and the media is not what it was 3 and 4 and 5 years ago. So that kind of explosive growth is going to cause some change that we have to kind of surf that wave of change as it goes. And I'm certain that that's something our students will be able to accomplish. Anybody else want to chime in on net neutrality before we move on? I'll take that pregnant pause as a no, and we'll move on to the next exciting segment of media in the news. And I think everybody has an opinion on what we're going to talk about now, because there's two teams. They battle it out, and we hear about this battle for just all the time, always a battle. And once a year, those two teams come together in one place, and it's explosive. I mean, the excitement and the news media goes to town, and everything's so just amazing. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about, right? The State of the Union. It was astounding. We had both teams in one building last night. Come on, that was a hilarious intro. Where's my laughter?
Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know what's funny. That's what I was thinking.
Okay. Well, yeah, because you don't know there's that.
Oh, we were muted. I'm
there's
sorry.
That other game.
Oh, man, that was good.
Yeah. All right. I forgot about the muting. Wipe the tears away, folks. Catch your breath.
Okay. Oh.
So last night at the State of the Union, we had our standard run-of-the-mill State of the Union. The president stands up, and we've seen presidents do this from the beginning of time because it's in the Constitution. They come together once a year and deliver a State of the Union. And generally speaking, over the last, 220-something years, the audience, our elected officials in the audience, show their displeasure by sitting down with their legs crossed and harumphing a lot, or show their pleasure by cheering and standing and clapping. That's how the audience at the State of the Union shows how they feel about the speech that they're hearing. But that's changed, just like everything else. The elected officials, the people that are sitting there either harumphing or cheering, aren't doing that anymore. They're now spewing out social media comments like you wouldn't believe. One blog likened it to a bunch of 13-year-old girls with a new iPhone. Here are some examples. The Twitter feed blew up with hashtag SOTU, State of the Union. We had images shared with people, representatives talking about how they felt about what was being said, the experience they were having, and their constituents, those that are very politically minded, were following along and watching everything that came in from hashtag SOTU. And it wasn't just Twitter. We were blowing up on Instagram as well. It's not just, like the blog said, 13-year-old girls that love Instagram. Apparently, so do the congressmen and the representatives. I think one of my favorites was the bingo card that somebody shared. It was the State of the Union address bingo card, and every time something was said, you got to cross off your square until you won bingo. And I thought that was a good way to pass the time. And we even had Vine being one of the newest social media outlets. We've had our older representatives are showing up on Vine where we're used to seeing 14, 15, and 20-year-olds. But here we have our older representatives sharing on Vine their 6-second opinions. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate them having to limit themselves to 6 seconds, because I really, frankly, don't really care what they say most of the time, and if they could keep it short and sweet, that would be ideal. And one other bit I'll throw out there, one new version of the State of the Union address that wasn't around before, or at least not as often. We've got the State of the Union streaming on YouTube, and that stream was manipulated by different groups and transmitted themselves. So rather than just having the uncut version, there was also an example of the GOP version where they broadcast the exact same State of the Union everybody else was seeing, but they had a split screen that was fact-checking everything that was said in the speech. So anything they disagreed with or thought the facts were wrong, they would put up their own version of the facts on the split screen so people watching could rather than be knowledgeable about what was being said and refuting it themselves, they had a handy screen they could refer to so they knew what was accurate and what wasn't. Anybody out there in the audience get to watch that last night? You guys
yes, we got to watch it at our house. We were muted. We watched it, and we watched the rebuttal, and it was curious. It was a little bit kind of a canned type of State of the Union for this time of the term. So there wasn't a whole lot of fireworks, I thought, and even the rebuttal was extraordinarily polite, and it just looked like this lady was running for office for some future years, and that was pretty much it.
I did like the fact when the president iterated to them, though, that this is about the American people. So if this bill doesn't show up in front of me, I will make a way to actually execute this. And he made his presence feel pretty heavy in most of the whole delivery. So that was kind of interesting to me. But that's what I can comment on.
And it looks like Lauren also watched it. I don't know if you want to speak to that, Lauren, but we'd love to hear what you think. Not in a place where you can chat.
Yes.
Well, that's okay.
But that's the exact words. Lauren said it right. That's the exact words. He said, "I will make it happen," and that's what I remembered. Yes.
Well,
oh, Lisa.
What was that? We can't see the chat on the archive.
She said the NSA is listening.
Oh, right. And we agree with everything they say, as always. Go NSA. Go team.
They are a welcome participant every week, right, Jason?
Of course. And we welcome our overlords as they view what we say and do. And we hope
Jason,
that it's okay.
Jason, I just heard from the La Brea Tar Pits. They're going to file charges for you using their brand and referencing a previous segment.
I know this will be hard to believe, but that's my second cease and desist from the La Brea Tar Pits. I can't believe that I let that slip out again. Well, that completes our look at the State of the Union address and media in the news, if I'm not mistaken. Let's push the button and see. Yeah, it's time for Kathy's Corner, the spinning cube of Kathy. That's right, it's Kathy's Corner.
I am here. One more time. I just wanted to hear it again. Hello, everybody. It is great to be here. I'm kind of suffering from a little bit of allergy, so hopefully I'm going to be able to get through this without too much terrible coughing. But great to have you guys here today, as always. Today I just wanted to talk a little bit about Hall of Fame. Is anybody familiar with Hall of Fame, especially students? I know faculty is. But so we have Hall of Fame coming up February 19th through the 22nd. This will be the 5th annual Hall of Fame at Full Sail, and really all it is a sort of a big celebration. It's a celebration of honoring some Full Sail alumni that have been chosen because of their extraordinary contributions in their industries, and the activities that they have done and contributions they've made within those industries. So what does it entail? It's several days of really awesome education sessions, which are just sort of like it'll feel kind of like a conference if you've ever been to one, where you get to go hear people from all different walks of the industry talking about really interesting things. And I'll talk about a little bit more about that in a minute. There's a live concert, and there is Induction Day, which is February 21st, in which the inductees will accept their awards and talk a little bit about their career, their industry, how they got there, what inspired them, and how Full Sail inspired them, and so forth. And those hearing from them is always very inspirational. I think you all will really enjoy that. So that will be on February the 21st. So who's coming? Who are these inductees? Well, I'm glad you asked. I will let you know. These are the ones that you see on the screen here. Right now we're looking at the inductees from last year. And they're, as you can see, well, some of you can't see, but I'll tell you that they're really fun. This is a picture of them being kind of fun and goofy and excited about their awards. But I'll tell you that they are really amazing industry leaders, so all very, very inspirational in their fields. So you will this year be enjoying Kim Alpert, who is the founder and director of creative strategy at Make Amazing. And what she does is her work involves being a creative director and media strategist. Did everybody hear that? I'll say that again. A creative director and media strategist. Huh. That has been broadcast nationally and hosted online with lots of unique visitors in the millions. So she's definitely representing for us. Really excited to have her here with us that week. We have Tom Boyd, who's an underwater cinematographer. How cool is that? He has done some work on Parenthood, one of my favorite shows, A Little Miss Sunshine, Crimson Tide, and some others. So think about that. Talk about, I can't believe that's somebody's job. Underwater cinematographer Tom Boyd, who's a graduate of Full Sail. Then we have Demasio, or Demo, he goes by, Castellan, and he is a producer and engineer and audio kind of magician type. Worked on all kinds of big projects. We have Leon Hopkins, who's a road staff manager for Claire Global. Very exciting. But Leon has worked with all kinds of big acts, and including Clint Black, Alan Jackson, Janet Jackson, Reba McEntire, and on and on. Larry Katz is a second assistant director on all kinds of films, including Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, First Avenger, or Captain America: The First Avenger, X-Men: The First Class, Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, and all kinds of television credits as well. Juan Peralta is a re-recording mixer at Skywalker Sound, so really fantastic credits behind his name, including The Incredibles, Finding Nemo, another Pirates of the Caribbean, Mission Impossible. So these are, as you can see, some really fantastic industry people that were sitting in your seats just 10 or more short years ago. So they are here to really serve you guys. These people are chosen not just for their accomplishments, but for their willingness to be able to be mentors to students. And they always are very excited as that to be part of their role as an inductee to the Hall of Fame. So when they come, they will have sessions where you can go and hear them talking about, you know, what does it take to make it in the industry, which is kind of the big question from students a lot of times. So please take advantage of going and hearing these folks. Also, I talked a little bit about some of the education sessions that you'll be able to attend. So what will happen is I'm actually not sure yet, but you'll be hearing more about this, but some of your classes that week will be canceled, and in their place you'll be able to go to sessions that are just really a lot of fun. They might have a panel. It might be one person who's speaking from the industry. Really, really interesting work. I went to one last year on just how to create a really impactful trailer. Some really fantastic. I went to one where they're talking all about movie poster design. And actually, Lisa and Pete would have loved it. Talked about the trends you see in different movie posters and the coloring and why they use that different color schemes and different design styles. So all kinds of stuff. But some of the ones that were last year were the impact. And tell me if this sounds like it'll be the kind of thing that will be relevant to media communication students. Impact of social media on sports and the entertainment. U.com, how to create your personal brand. New multimedia consumer, how technology enables new models and methods of streaming and consuming media. Creating a buzz, new ways to deliver your message and successfully brand an artist or product. Getting yourself noticed on YouTube. It's not black magic, it's the craft of storytelling with Ed Jones, Oscar winner. So those are some of the kinds of sessions that we had last year, and I know we're going to have even more amazing ones this year. One of the most popular ones last year that I would be remiss if I didn't mention was zombies everywhere. Why does everyone want to shoot them? So that was a standing room only, but those were panelists who, it was a lot of fun, but they were panelists who have written and produced and worked on zombie films. So how about a niche market there? That was pretty fantastic. So really exciting week coming up. I want you guys to be watching for more information about this. And really take advantage of it. Get together with your friends and go to some of these great sessions, concerts, the induction, and so forth. Also, take a minute to check out Spark, which is an organization I'm actually just learning more about, but it is an organization where on campus students can apply for and then be accepted to be a part of all kinds of volunteering in media capacities, and they're going to need a lot of folks for Hall of Fame. So I'm going to put the email here on the screen, and I know you can find them on Connect as well, but please get in touch with them. It's a way to get some really great experience on your resume and kind of find out some more about what you'd like to be doing when you graduate. So there is the Spark at fullsail.com email. So just give them a shout, and I'm sure they can put you to work for Hall of Fame. And that's it for Kathy's Corner.
Excellent. Thank you, Kathy. That was Spark at fullsail.com. Is that right?
Yes, it's spark at fullsail.com.
Okay.
Also, Emily is making a really important point here that you can attend virtually. So if you are an online student, and I should have said this, but if you're an online student, these will be live streamed. So you will be able to watch these events as well. So we like to include our online students as well. Thanks, Emily.
All right. Always trying to blend that community together. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Well, that completes Kathy's Corner and launches us into this week's I Can't Believe This Is Someone's Job. And the job we're going to be looking at this week is media analyst. We're all going to be media analysts today as we look forward towards this big event. This one is a big game. It's not just a meeting of two teams so they can argue. It's a meeting of two teams so they can battle out which of them is the better sports organization. And that's coming up pretty soon. But we're gonna do some analysis of this upcoming sporting event now. On the screen, you're probably looking at some of the commercials. We've got some exciting big game commercials to look forward to this Sunday. And I believe that Janelle, hashtag Be Social Media Savvy, Janelle, is going to touch on some of these commercials later on. So let's jump forward to another exciting story that's in the media that revolves around this big game, and it's about this gentleman. Renee, what can you tell us about this guy, other than he looks like a pleasant fellow?
Yeah, he definitely looks like he's He's going to be in the next Pirates of the Caribbean. This guy is a running back. Am I allowed to say running back, or should I say athlete? He is
Athlete.
He's a running back for the Nautical Avians, and he apparently this guy's in trouble right now because he does not want to participate with the media, which is kind of curious. And so he's got an anxiety or something where he really just doesn't do well, and he really just wants to play, but they're all required. Nice, very nice. For those of you listening, our mug shot of our athlete just got surrounded by microphones. So he basically is trying to do the least possible media time that he can, and so he was fined earlier this season for not participating. So in this big game environment, of course, not only is there your typical interview, but the Four Letter Network has, which I think we're allowed to say that one since they're our friends and colleagues, but they have like 2 weeks to fill of interviews. So he goes and he stays for about 6 minutes before he just kind of freaks out and leaves. So my favorite thing that's come out is that the Professional Football Writers Association is appalled at at this behavior, and he says that what they say, quote, that we found a statement by the league that, quote, players are required to participate, and he participated, quote, to be an affront to our membership. So now this has become a story, the fact that this guy does not want to talk, and what are his responsibilities. And it reminds me of a student of mine when we were talking about your digital footprint and building your brand. And I was talking to a large group, and most of them are into it. And one guy's like, well, what if I don't want to have a digital footprint? And, part of the answer is that you're going to have one. You're going to be in the media somehow. But this gentleman in this story is in the spotlight and being basically forced to participate in something that he's extremely uncomfortable in. So I just thought it was an interesting story that popped up. And he looks like a pirate, which is awesome.
Right. Now, he's great at what he does. He's so good that he's going to be at this large sporting event that only 2 teams get to attend. So he must be good. But that doesn't mean he's good at talking to people or can handle himself in front of a camera. That's terrifying for him. And frankly, look at him. If that guy doesn't want to talk to you, are you going to force the issue? Hey, buddy, get over here and answer my questions. No, not me. I'm not going to say that to him. But frankly, I can't believe that's somebody's job. Oh my gosh, look what happened. We jumped right into hashtag Be Social Media Savvy with Janelle.
Yay! Yay!
Hashtag.
Okay, so I chose. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so I found 10 big game, quote, ad campaigns that rock social media. There was actually 10, but I decided to pick the 5 that I like. This is the Doritos one that I put that came in 5. And what they did was they hosted the contest that they've done for the past 7 years, where they asked people to create a 30-second Super Bowl commercial about Doritos, and then they allow the audience to vote on Facebook for their favorites. And I'm sure many of you guys have participated. I've actually had friends who have submitted videos, and they've gone pretty high and then just gotten to the top 2, and it's been pretty cool to watch and see how people watch their own little project kind of escalate, and it's been pretty cool. This was one of the top 5 contestants, and one of these 2 won the contest. There's the GOAT one that I'm sure everybody saw, but even though Doritos has held this contest for 7 years, people still get excited about it. So that's pretty crazy. And they've just been constantly updating their Facebook page, and people are always looking to see, where is it at? So Doritos really has done a great job engaging people through social media to vote on this and kind of bring the hype up. Number 4, hit it, Maestro, is Pepsi. Something cool that they did, they did the hashtag Pepsi halftime show, or Pepsi halftime. Now, they didn't just, sponsor the halftime show last year, which they typically do, but what they decided to do, one of their great social media campaigns, now I don't know what they're going to do this year, but what they've done in the past, they actually did, they kind of included their viewers to do like a countdown commercial leading up to the big game, where people could submit photos of themselves in different dance poses. I think that can get a little crazy, but they had to use the hashtag Pepsi halftime. And so what they did was they posted it, and whoever got to win, was able to get on stage with Beyonce. So it was pretty cool for people who, love Beyonce and really wanted to be on stage with her and be at the Super Bowl. So that was really a cool way that they included, again, their viewers, the fans of both Beyonce and Pepsi, to kind of engage and get involved in their campaign. The next one, number 3, is GoDaddy. Now, they're risque, obviously, every time they've done, commercials. But typically, I don't know if I'm the only one, but the very first time they came out, their commercials were all about sex, and nobody had any idea what GoDaddy.com was. I think people were scared to go on it because they thought it was a porn site, and what the heck they're doing at the Super Bowl. So anyways, Lauren's laughing, but I really thought that. So I was like, what the heck are they advertising for? So that's kind of been their thing, where they advertise these crazy things that have absolutely nothing to do with domain names. But something that they actually did that actually had you relate what they did to their actual company was Your Big Idea. So it was hashtag Your Big Idea. So they have this awesome commercial. I mean, we'll put links up on it in the archive so you can see it. But they did this really cool thing where it crossed international boundaries, and it's all these couples kind of talking about the big idea, and they all think they have this unique idea, but it's all kind of the same thing. But basically, they are allowing you to kind of search through this website on GoDaddy.com, where you put in your big idea, and if it's already taken, clearly it's not the best idea, but they'll offer different suggestions as to different names that you can choose for your big idea. So it's kind of pretty cool, and what happened was they were engaging people on Twitter. So people were hashtagging Your Big Idea and posting what they thought, and then it really got a lot of conversation going. So that was pretty cool, again, just because it encouraged the promotion of their campaign, but it also allowed other people to discuss things that they wanted, and I agree, Lauren, I thought it was pretty cool. But anyways, it was just kind of a funny take on it. The commercial is always funny. They always do a great job of either making you laugh, cringe, whatever it is, but they do a really good job of social media. That's number 3. Number 2, I'm trying to remember what I did. Oh, Toyota RAV4. Now, I don't care much for this commercial, but what was pretty cool was they actually used Kaylee Cuoco. I probably destroyed her last name. But this was it seemed like a typical ad, but it was a little different because they actually announced, the hashtag wish granted. I don't know if thank you, Penny from the Big Bang Theory. I know she looks familiar, but I don't know her last name, or her real last name, how to say it. It's Cuoco or something like that. But what they did was they put out a teaser, and people were retweeting it, and it was just going viral, and they had over 12 million views, with 11.8 million views coming in before the Super Bowl. I think that's pretty stellar because they got so much of this going viral before it even launched. Oh, I shouldn't have said that name before. Sorry, the big game. You're going to have to edit that out, Jason. Sorry, it slipped. It's kind of hard when we're talking about the big game. But it was pretty cool just because they got so many hits just from doing something in advance and allowing it to go viral. So, fans that, were Kaylee's fans, and they were kind of pushing this and really trying to make this a successful brand just because she was behind it. So that was pretty interesting. And number 1, I thought was probably the coolest way to interact with your fans. And this is a video here of the commercial for Audi, and what they did was, it was their prom commercial. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that, but similar to other companies, they used a contest to promote this commercial. But what they did was they took it to YouTube instead of some other social media platforms, and in their contest they actually asked viewers to vote for their favorite ending of the commercial. They produced 3 different options, but they wanted the audience to decide what should make it to the big game. I love that because many times you wish that you could have changed the ending of a movie or made it what you wanted, or you didn't quite like the way that ended up coming out. But I like this right here. Oh, okay, sorry. So I'm watching this at the same time. So he makes out with the girl. And anyway, so basically this was the part that everybody chose, how do you guys want this to end? And, it's kind of cool because people engage and they're like, oh, that was the ending I chose, on YouTube. So it really brought that engagement. And then that was their commercial. So something that I found really awesome with all 5 of these was the fact that they became these, rockin' social media campaigns because they engaged their fans, the audience, the people. So it is such a great way to really incorporate social media, is incorporating human beings, and not just, always the celebrities or just your typical standard, which I know that all of you awesome rock star students are going to be doing anyways through transmedia campaigns. So I just wanted to kind of post that out as we prepare for the big game. So go Denver Wild Horses. Woo! Hashtag be social media savvy.
Hey, Janelle, I was noticing too as you were going through those. This is Kathy. I was noticing what a strong story element most all of them had, especially that last one where, like you said, not only is it telling a story, but now I get to be a part of that story.
Yeah.
I get to actually root for my, hero and that sort of thing. But, excuse me, I just think that, we talk a lot in media communications about how storytelling kind of weaves throughout all of it. And that is really, at the end of the day, what engages audiences quite a bit. And so I just thought what a strong element was showing up in these videos.
I completely agree. I thought it was really cool. And again, just allowing people to be a part of it and be, watch something that they did, even if it was indirectly. So, everybody really likes to be a part of something. So this is just a great way that these 5 companies really did that and allowed you to kind of, which is exactly what transmedia is. So that's my time.
I am astounded that there are already millions and millions and millions of views on these, and the big game that we're talking about hasn't even started. It's days away still. It's just a completely different world, because we used to have to wait until the day of the big game to see those amazing commercials, and now people are deciding which ones they're going to show. That's really cool. Thank you very much for that. Hashtag Be Social Media Savvy with Janelle.
My pleasure.
And that launches us into our next segment, Tool Time with Pete.
Here we go. I'm batting cleanup, and I get to just enjoy the entire show. This has been so great. I mean, we covered so much in this show. It was like excellent. I've been enjoying it. Sorry, I was all caught up in it. Anyway, but yeah, let's go ahead and let's do it. Let's talk about the big game. And I want to start out by taking, I took a little part of the logo here, which is the Roman numeral, and actually there are some people that are always trying to figure that thing out, right? Is it Super Bowl what? When you're looking at it, they can't just write the number, right? So being of Italian descent, I am going to go ahead and tell you how to count like a Roman. So here we go. The XL, the L is a 50. When the X is before it, it's minus 10. So now we're going to be calling this 40 with the V, the 5, and then the 3 individual counts there are the 3 that make the 8 equals 48. So there you go. There's your quick Gen Ed mathematics lesson in MCBS today. So a little shout out to our Gen Ed brethren there. So
there you go. That reminds me of my big fat Greek wedding. So there you go.
Bazinga! So, all right. So let's go ahead and let's dive into the rest of this. Oh goodness! I think that this was supposed to happen in a sort of order, and it's not. So my slide is like not doing what it's supposed to do here. All right, we'll work around this then. Is there a way that can be like fixed for a second? This is like totally killing it. All right. Anyway,
what's supposed to happen?
Well, first there was supposed to be a slide, and then that slide was supposed to disappear, and then the next slide was going to come up, or the next thing was going to come up on the screen, and then slowly things disappear. But you know what happened, Jason? I think when you put the things over it, it then defaults to just splashing everything up there. So we might have wanted to just leave the slide. Yeah. So anyway, okay. Well, let me just tell you how this was going to go. No, you know what? To Jason's credit, I made the phone call. Yeah, no, I made the phone call and said, Yahoo is online right now saying the big game because they're, you can get sued for even having a 60-inch screen in your home and showing the game to friends because the NFL has determined that a 55-inch screen is the maximum you can have in a house and not be in violation of copyright. So
what?
Isn't it horrible? Yeah, it's just getting way too, but anyway, another topic for another time. Okay, so let me tell you what was going to happen. First, there was going to be this picture of me in MetLife Stadium where the Super Bowl is being played down there on the field, and that's me. That's me behind some of that other stuff there. And basically, I was going to be saying my lead in here was, well, you know what? We have. I love going to stadiums. Love seeing games. Obviously, I love technology, and so one of the things that you see on the left was a shot, and I'm using all my own photos here, so we're within copyright. But Yankee Stadium, or I've been to Lambeau Field, which in football is sort of it's like Mecca in terms of going to Lambeau Field to see a football game. So something cool that happened there from a technology standpoint was down the bottom you're going to see a picture, and if you look dead center in between the triangle of X's on the lower left, my cousin and I are sitting in the stands there, and that picture was taken from the middle, from the 50-yard line before that playoff game, and they just did a panorama HD photo, and then through social media they said, okay, were you at the game? Then you got this kind of social media and email, right, that you got, and they said, do you want a picture of yourself at the game? And so you were able to connect in, and it was as Janelle said, a very engaging initiative. It's a way that you engage people beyond the game experience. And so I did. I went online and I caught the picture and said, I think we're sitting over here, and I actually found myself and my cousin in 30 below temperatures enjoying a playoff game. So we are right below that guy with he's kind of big standing up with a sort of reddish color on his jacket. Anyway, and then in this also, they were supposed to pop up these social media icons were going to be popping up, but there was something else in there, Jason, that hasn't popped up. And so that was, I have no idea. It had to totally play into where I was going. So just hit the next slide. Let's just get going. Because I'm like totally, yeah, there it is. Is there a way you can delete the X's and then come back in? Because it's an infographic I really, really need to refer to.
Okay, I can do that. But everybody, right now, I'm going to say time out, and this is going to be clipped from the archive, so you all can curse all that you want. You may now go to town.
You can, off of that screen, and then we'll see if once the X's are all gone, and we probably violate some form of copyright. There you go, Robert. Look at this. Oh, this is great stuff. Actually, we could probably see if the slide will come up after that. Let's just see what happens. It's still not doing it. Okay.
Hold on.
It's the next one, right?
Yeah. Okay, do me a favor then. Delete that social media one with all the social media thingies, and then I'll just go from there. See, we can totally click on the Twitter thing, and then that should click on that slide. Just delete that. There we go. And then go to the next one, and or hit it, and then just the infographic should come up, because that's going to play into the app. Oh, here we go. Good. This is it now. Go ahead and hit it again. Yes, there we go. So.
Oh, wait, hold on. I need a clean place to cut. So. As soon as the applause is gone. All right, wait till we're done with this. Everybody, we're back to no cursing, okay?
Okay, here we go. So in the stadium, there are 85,000 seats. So I'm going to give you this little infographic here. And so 100% of people having devices, which there's not going to be very many little tiny kids without cell phones or devices. So of that 85,000 number that MetLife Stadium holds, there's going to be a lot of people jamming on the wireless, right? So Verizon is handling the wireless for the big game. And of that, they have shared the number that 25,000 to 30,000 concurrent users can be texting, tweeting, sending video, snapping pictures and sharing them, you name it, right? So 25 to 30,000 concurrent users should be able to use the system and not have it log jammed. What are the anticipated speeds of the wireless at the big game? They will not tell us, and so they have preferred to not let that number out. However, we do have the number from last year's XLVII, which, can anybody tell me what that number is in Roman numerals?
I believe that's the number for getting sued.
Clayson got it, 47, right? So we can use the number 47, which was 23 to 44 megabits per second. Now, to you guys that are saying, I have no idea what that number means, it really isn't that bad when you're sending something. It's not exactly the best. I have experienced that kind of wireless at some of these big games before, and it is a little slow. It's not what you're used to, but it does eventually get to the people that you're sending it to. To put this in perspective of where wireless, big-time wireless, has come from, back, you guys remember flip phones, right? When we used to have our flip phones without all of the fancy smart stuff in it. I remember sending a Happy New Year from New Jersey out to my family all over the place. And it took, yeah, Shannon, you loved your flip phone. Yeah, Janelle. And so they were cute, weren't they? And so I sent this Happy New Year text out, and it took from midnight until 9 o'clock in the morning for it to get to where it was supposed to go to. And that was about, oh gosh, I'm going to say 8 years ago. So it has come a long way, and they are doing wireless better and better. Now, why am I going into all this? Well, Jason, if you click the next slide, we're going to bring this to our app of the week. And I hope there won't be, let's see, that's okay so far. That's okay. Yay! Okay, good. Thank you, Jason. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Copyright compliant. Way to go. I want to talk to you about infographics, and that infographic that I just put up there is from I actually used the app of the week. It's called Infographics, and my students were using it in research in media communications this past month. At least the on campus were, because we just kind of threw it out there to sort of beta it. And these are some of the graphics that you get. They're pre-done. You can make changes to them on the fly. You open them up in Keynote, and then you can edit them, copy paste them wherever you want. So if you are doing some visual data design and you're a non-designer, these things are cool. They're really fast, and I'm sure Clayson and some of the other students that are in the research and media communications class that are in our studio audience today are going to say, love it. So the app is called Infographics. That's the name of the app. And you can get it. I have well, you'll click it again here, Jason, and you'll see some of the other infographics that sort of set themselves up. There's everything. You name it, it's sort of in there. Clothing, fashion, water, all kinds of different things, people statistics, there's countries, all that kind of stuff. So I just threw a few out here. It's not super expensive. I got it for less than $10, but let me tell you something. When you're building a toolbox, everything can't be free. So sometimes, part with the buck a little bit, and there you go. So if you go to www.jumsoft.com/infographics, and then a /, you'll find it. Now, it's $20 there, but if you go to, some of these, Jason, what was that one that we use all the time? Social or?
Yeah, Stack Social.
Stack Social, yeah, thanks.
Also called Where My Paycheck Goes.
There, Stack Social, and places like that will have it. So, and that's where I found it for $9.99. So they're always putting it up on sale. Students, really, really, really good tool to have in your toolbox as you're moving through MCBS. So I throw that out there as part of my big game statistics. And of course, Pigskin Pete says, enjoy the big game, everybody. Don't worry about all of this. Not affiliated. I love that, Jason. Thank you. Enjoy it. Who cares about all this other stuff? Have people over. Enjoy being together at the big game. And Emily and Janelle, it makes sense that you would be rooting for opposite teams. So I wanted to hear a little more answer there.
I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing. I was like, of course.
I'll leave it there. So yeah. And thanks for roughing it through that with me, that segment, you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks, Jason.
Absolutely. And Pete, we appreciate the heads up on how serious that National Sports League is about having their properties talked about. They are a non-profit organization, and so I can understand
Don't
why.
get me started.
Well, as soon as we stop the recording, Pete, you can vent, and everybody in the live studio audience can hear what you really think about that National Sports
I would
League.
love to.
Okay. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of this week's MCBS Hour, and we are looking forward to seeing you guys again next week, Wednesday at 2 p.m. Have a spectacular week and enjoy any big games you may happen to watch next Sunday.
Boom! We're out. This is Kathy. I'll hang around for a little bit if anybody needs to ask questions or just chat.